Live now. Hello, America. How you doing today? Sorry for the little delay, little technical difficulties. And how's our veterans and your families doing out there today? Hope everybody's doing fine. It's a rainy, cold day here in Cleveland today. How are things up by you in Michigan, Kevin?
Yeah, it's I think we've gotten the same weather pattern here this time, so it's letting us know it's getting towards the new change of the season time around here. So yeah, rainy and cold.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Rainy
The
and cold.
leaves have changed colors and fallen off the trees here. I like fall. But speaking of fall, we are dedicating today's show to two fallen heroes. The first fallen hero today is, let me bring up so I can pronounce his name correctly here, because I always have a trouble pronouncing their last name. Today is Joe Cancelino.
There you
He
go.
was a gunnery sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps, and unfortunately, he passed away due to his toxic injuries that he received while serving overseas in, I believe, Afghanistan and in Iraq. And his widow is a good friend of ours. She advocated for the PACT Act, and we consider her family now. And we are
Cheers to
also,
Joe. Cheers to Joe.
here's to Joe.
Here's to Joe.
And the second fallen hero we are dedicating this show to is to Gary Hughes. His widow Kim is also a friend of ours. She had advocated for the PACT Act. And let me bring up his info here real quick. He was a major in the Army, and he served in Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and Iraq. So here's to the memory of
Here's
Gary.
to Joe. Here's to Gary. God bless you, Gary. All right.
All right, Kevin. I know we have an extremely special guest, a very special guest for you today.
Yes, we do. It's a good day. We hope a lot of our veterans out there in the veteran community get a good opportunity to listen into the podcast. Please subscribe to the Golf War Advocate podcast. Share and like us on all of the social media outlets. But today is a special day. It's a doctor who helped treat me and many other veterans like me and like conditions like myself. She's out of Arizona. She runs the North Star Neurology and North Star Hyperbaric clinics in Tucson, Arizona. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Carol Hendricks, our special guest for the day. How you doing, Doc?
Hi, Doc.
I think we lost her. There she is.
Yep, there she is.
Hi, Arizona. I'm connected phone.
And we lost her.
And we lost her.
All right.
So that's okay.
Well,
When she comes, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, the chat lines are open. So if anybody has anything they want to talk about, go ahead and put it in the chat. Hopefully the doctor's coming back on here. Thought I heard the beep come in, but there she is.
There we go.
All right. I believe she is back. Yep,
She's
there
back.
she is.
I think we're losing her.
Yeah.
So,
but the chat line is open, and if we can get things working with the doctor here, you can ask questions in the chat. Also, we are going to start dedicating
You're able to hear me?
Our shows to, there she is. Yes, we can hear you, doctor.
We got you for a minute. think we're running.
Mm. All right. Yep, she's frozen up again. So if there is a fallen veteran or fallen hero that you'd like to dedicate an episode to, go ahead and email us that individual's information with a picture, and we will go ahead and dedicate an episode to that individual. And so let's see if the doctor's working here yet.
Gotta
All
love
right.
modern technology.
Yeah, well, while the doctor gets it figured out there. So any issues that are affecting you lately, Kevin?
Well, it's we're actually I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it's just the normal stuff from the toxic exposure. We had a PACT Act press conference yesterday in Flint, and got to hear from a widow who came out and talked about her husband's experience with toxic exposure. You there, Doc? She's trying.
Yep.
So, and then just normal stuff. But once we get the doc on, it's a really awesome opportunity to learn about hyperbaric oxygen treatment for veterans with brain wounds, and that is the focus of our topic of conversation for today. And it's an extension of the next couple weeks, going into the hyperbaric treatment options, legislative and informational packs for the next week's show with Robert Beckman and Eric Codella, and then a follow on with a veteran besides myself that was actually treated from North Star Neurology named Will Weisner. So it's going to be a good couple weeks to actually talk about other health modalities and alternative treatments besides just throwing pills at folks. So we're hoping that the doc can come on and share the knowledge, because this is a huge piece, an integral piece of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to share with folks, because this is not an FDA approved type treatment yet. We're hoping that it becomes a treatment like it does for chiropractor and acupuncture. It becomes a standard of care, but we'll see what happens.
All right, let's see if this works now.
Then it disconnects. I don't.
All right.
Beautiful Arizona there.
Yep.
It's a pretty side of the sunshine, unlike here.
Yes.
Unlike our neck of the woods.
Well, if
Hello?
any of our there she is. Let's see. No. All right. If any of our veterans or family members of veterans
bad connect.
She's got a bad connection.
We have a really
okay.
And I don't really. Do you want to try it again? And
I couldn't understand her there, Kevin.
Yes, if we want to try again another time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try this at another time.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, we'll get the doctor on one day, and we'll get because this is very important to veterans that are suffering from toxic exposure and traumatic brain injury. Correct.
Yes.
Also, right. All right.
Yep.
Well,
and also PTSD as well. Yeah.
Yes.
To rewire and kind of reconnect the brain and get the information out there for reducing the opioid dependency, the suicide issues that we've been having now, especially when we're finding out that the increase of numbers have been happening from when they say, and it was 17 a day or 22 a day for the misinformation that's going on all over the place. And then also reducing the incarceration rate, the homelessness rate, which I know you're really big on. The homeless part of this whole, well, we all are, but I know you're have been looking a lot more and researching a lot more about the homelessness issues across not only Ohio but nationwide. And also this would help reduce the divorce rate, because a lot of veterans feel like if they have an episode of trauma, that they would rather be by themselves and not with their families because of potential harm that may or may, obviously, hopefully won't happen. But and then the spouses say, well, if you're not with me, then why are we together? So hopefully it'll curb all of those issues. And I think a lot of these issues will also be helped with the signing of the PACT Act, because as well as I do that before, when we weren't listened to and we were told that this was all in our heads, or we were making this up, or your symptoms are from something else, here's a pill and go on your way, that now with these presumptive benefits from the PACT Act, this will help also. I'm hoping and praying, and I'm sure you are too, that this will help curb the suicide rate and reduce it back down, because now veterans will be listened to and the benefits will be coming. I think there's over 113,000 that have already signed up. We get that information the other day, right?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yep. Yes, I did. Yep. Over 13,000.
113,000.
113. Yeah, 113,000 claims have already been filed.
That's
now
great.
Here's the killer. This is one thing I don't understand. Is I am getting a lot of. I've been doing roundtables with Senator Sherrod Brown in the state of Ohio. I'm getting ready to go on a college tour to speak about the PACT Act. Matter of fact, my first speaking engagement, it will be at Owens Community College out near Toledo, Bowling Green area, on November 4th. They're going to have all that information posted on where it's going to be held at the university and everything, and how you can get in. It's for veteran. Well, actually, it's for anybody interested in learning about the PACT Act. But the thing that I'm getting the most feedback on is from the younger generation of veterans, the ones that were in Afghanistan and Iraq. Well, I'm not sick yet. Why should I file? Why should I even register on the burn pit registry? Because I'm not sick. Well, young men and ladies, you're going to get sick. Chances are you're going to get sick. That's why we need you to go ahead and sign up on that burn pit registry now. Let's get you in the system. So when you do get sick, you don't have to go through all the BS of getting into the VA system. Well, I'll have a presumptive illness at that time, so they're going to have to prove me. True, they're going to approve you. But in order to get in to see the doctors and to get the testing and the care that you need, you'll already be in the system. You don't have to because if your claim's approved, doesn't mean you're in the VA system for healthcare. You still have to sign up for that as well.
Right. Well, and also, even Senator Peters from Michigan here said the same thing yesterday when a question was raised about signing up for the registry versus signing up for benefits. Those are two separate things, first of all. Second of all, even if you sign up for the burn pit registry, if you have a cancer or a respiratory illness or some illness that is not on the presumptive list for the PACT Act or those other things, they can add that condition down the road, so it would help other veterans as well besides yourself to get those increases. I mean, I think we had 44 conditions that we were listed from like the decade of advocacy, and 23 got on there. So we're hoping that these initial ones, because a lot of people say, well, what is throat cancer? What is your interpretation of lung cancer? So people are
the one that's getting me is neck cancer.
Exactly. Yep. Neck cancer. So what does that mean?
Is that throat? Is that
exactly.
Glands, the thyroid, all that?
Yep.
So
yeah, just you have to sign up for the registry. I recommend for anybody who signs up for the registry to be resilient. I got kicked off the registry like 4 times in 2015 after I completed it. There's then sign up for your benefits, file your claims. We're hoping that this process goes a lot smoother than it did in the past, where we filed claims and we had evidence, and then they said go back and build more evidence and build more evidence. So that keyword of presumption is what we fought for, where if you presumed to have these illnesses, you have one of these illnesses listed at the 35, the 12 that the VA initially started with the presumption prior to the PACT Act being signed, and then the initial 23 that the PACT Act covers, which would be 35. If you have one of these illnesses, it's presumed that you have this illness came from your service. If you have a campaign medal or you deployed to these areas, it is presumed that you have this illness. And those claims are going to be retroactive from August 10th, when the bill was signed. So when those claims start going through and being processed, they're going to be retroactive from August 10th of 2020 when it was signed into law at the White House. So get on the registry, get your healthcare set up. If you have questions about anything, you can look up on congress.gov. You can look up S3373, which is the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson honoring our PACT Act of 2022. There's information about the bill there. If you have other questions, you can go to va.gov/PACT Act. You can find information about there. They have one-pagers. They have like 8 or 9 one-pagers about information. You can always go to burnpits360.org and you can find information there as well. Or if you want to talk to somebody face to face, you can always go and hit up accredited service county officer or one of your accredited service officers through the veteran service organizations of the DAV, the American Legion, the VFW, and so on, to talk to somebody, and it's a free of charge service. So take advantage of that. And if you decide to contact a lawyer, then make sure that you're protected and make sure that you know all the legality stuff.
Ooh, yeah, you just hit on a pet peeve of mine.
Right.
Oh man, these lawyers out there right now, I've called up several of them, and oh my God, all they did was get me ticked off, people. I mean, I am literally fucking pissed. Even if they say they're veterans themselves, they are taking advantage of you.
Yep.
They're out to get your money. They're out to get your claim. They're out to get your compensation. Do your research.
Yep.
A lot of them are charging 40, 50, 60% of your first initial check, and then they want 10 to 20% of every check after that. That's illegal.
Yeah, that's
they also want to charge expenses like filing fees, filing that. Oh, we had to buy a stapler just to process your claim. That's bullshit. Excuse my language today, people, but this is pissing me off. They are not allowed to charge expenses to veterans or veterans' families. That is against the law.
Yeah. So it's
do your research.
Yeah, we've heard up here in Michigan, we've heard about 45% is what some people
they're not allowed to charge no more than 30% on veterans' claims. Even if it's Camp Lejeune, they're not allowed to charge no more than 30% of your initial check that you receive in compensation. They are not allowed to charge anything after that. They are not allowed to charge you expenses. There are guidelines they're supposed to be going by. If they're true veterans, they would not be charging you outrageous fees. Do your research, people.
Yeah, and then we're worried about the GUARD. We're worried about the GUARD Act too, for predatory claim sharks, kind of like the same with Camp Lejeune right now, where they don't have there's no penalty for them. They just get a slap on the wrist. But if accredited service officer files your claim fraudulently, they can spend up to a year in jail and a $15,000 fine.
Right, but yet all these lawyers do is get a little slap on the wrist, saying, "Don't do it again."
Yeah, and now,
but yet they'll keep doing it because they know they got away with it once. They'll do it again.
Exactly, and that's why the GUARD Act is trying to get back with making the penalties the same across the board. And what's happening is that ultimately the veteran can be responsible for that fraudulent claim
That's
if
right.
they put something in. And these veterans are just giving them the information, and they can put in whatever they want. Hopefully they don't do that, but
Got to be
but
proactive.
yep, you got to find out. Do your
It's your
homework.
claim. You be proactive. You tell them what
Yeah,
needs to be put in there. You
yeah.
go over everything before they file it.
And that's why
Do
we
not
said,
sign any paperwork until you are 100% satisfied these people are not ripping you off.
yep, and that's why we said you got to be your own lawyer, your own doctor, your own advocate, because I'm telling you, the only person that's going to look out for yourself and your best
It's
interest is
yourself.
you. Yep. So
That's why
make sure
Kevin and
you,
I and a bunch of our friends went and advocated on the PACT Act along with Burn Pits 360 because we want to protect our brothers and sisters.
yes, we do.
We want to get you what you deserved, what you earned.
Exactly.
Don't let these lawyers take it away from you. Research these lawyers. Speaking of that, let's go back a little bit to another one of my little things that I'm working on. Here this week, I will be sending out flyers to all the homeless shelters in the state of Ohio. I'm going to be asking the town of Twinsburg, Ohio again to help me out with this, see if people can donate stamps and envelopes so we can mail this stuff out. And what I also need is people from other states to send me a list of all the homeless shelters in your state. Be great if a veteran can step up and help me organize the movement in your state so we can get flyers sent out to all the homeless shelters there. The reason I'm sending these flyers out is because there are a large number of homeless veterans that are affected by the PACT Act, and they don't even know about it. This act can help get them off the streets and into sustainable housing. Get some food in their bellies. Get them the care that they need, basically.
Right.
Now, come on, brothers and sisters. Being a veteran automatically puts you into a fraternity for life. We have each other's six. Help me out with this. Let's help out our homeless brothers and sisters. There's a lot of them out there. And I'm not just talking to ones that are living in the gutter, downtown Cleveland or downtown San Francisco or LA. I'm also talking about our brothers and sisters that are living in their brothers or sisters or their mom's basement, living in their neighbor's garage, or living in their best friend's shed in their best friend's backyard. You're homeless too. That's not sustainable housing.
Nope.
I mean, if you're living with your family, yeah, that's probably sustainable housing. But is it the most opt situation for you or your family? No, not really.
No.
So see if the PACT Act will help you. If you are sick, chances are the PACT Act's going to help you and help you get you back on your feet. It'll help you keep from choosing between paying rent or your medical bills or your medical expenses, such as prescriptions, which, by the way, people, we need to speak up to on prescriptions as veterans. Prescription prices are outrageous. What my wife has to pay for her insulin is unbelievable. It's a car payment.
Yeah.
It's a car payment every month. But yet, it's cheaper to go buy meth from your kid down the street.
Yep. I think an EpiPen was almost $500 or something like that. They were trying to charge for an EpiPen if somebody had an allergic reaction to something at one time.
Exactly.
I think they just got those costs put down, but I mean, it's ridiculous.
The medication that I'm on through the VA, which, by the way, I'll admit I'm 100% service connected. Was before I started advocating. That's one of the reasons why I started. It's because I'm hearing way too many of our fellow veterans getting denied left and right, like I did for 25 years. But if I were to get my prescriptions outside the VA, they say I'd be paying $2,500 a month for my prescriptions.
Yeah.
That's two house payments.
Yeah.
A month.
Crazy. That's crazy. Just in case you joined us, I know it says that we're supposed to have a conversation with Dr. Hendricks. Unfortunately, Dr. Hendricks had some technical difficulties and we weren't able to get her on the show today. So that's why it's become a kind of a Kevin and Tim little powwow here of what's going on with our veterans communities and stuff like that. So hopefully what we're going to do is that we're going to get Dr. Carol Hendricks on board with us again another time.
Yep.
We still have a schedule for Robert Beckman and Eric Hodella next week from treatnow.org to talk about legislation, advocacy, about hyperbaric oxygen treatment. And then we have a follow-up with Will Weisner from Burn Pit 360 and also from the Grunstyle Foundation to tell us his story, his version of his hyperbaric treatment, because he went to Arizona before I did, and some other things that they've got going on. So again, we apologize to everybody out there that Dr. Carol Hendricks is not on here, and it's the Tim and Kevin show today. So
Yes.
Just bear with us.
What they call us in Washington D.C. The O2 crew.
The O2 crew, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have our oxygen on today, but
no, not today.
Most of the times we do.
Most of the
just
times,
happens to be one of them days. It's like, it's not going to help me feel any better today.
No, it's nice not to be put up with a cord and everything else too. So
tube in my nose all day long.
Right. So, but yeah. So sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
A lot of you can relate to that nose and that nose tube. So, let's see. Okay, the chat line is open, folks. So if you're out there watching, even if all you do is just say hi, put something in the chat. Help us out today. We could use a little help with today's episode. And like I said, we are, well, let me bring those slides back up again. And all right, we are dedicating today's show to Gary Hughes. Gary was a major in the U.S. Army, and he passed away due to his toxic wounds that he received while in Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And it is also dedicated to Joe Candelino, who was a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, and he succumbed to his toxic wounds that he received while in Afghanistan and Iraq. People, this is serious stuff. And it's not rocket science. The PACT Act is designed to help you. It's not designed to help the government. It's not designed to help the VA. It's designed to help you. Matter of fact, once we started getting more information about the PACT Act to Secretary McDonough at the VA, he changed course even before the bill was passed. And he's like, yeah, we need this. And one of the, and Kevin, I think the reason I'm bringing this up, because I want to get your opinion on this too. After the hearing that we went to at the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee hearing about the PACT Act, and they interviewed McDonough, and then John Stewart interviewed him for The Problem With. After that interview, he changed course quickly. And then he's like, hey, I want this bill to pass because one, it's going to help veterans like you wouldn't believe. And two, put it in law, make it a law. So this way, if anything happened to him, nobody can change it. The next secretary can't backtrack on it and take it away. And he stated that.
Yeah, he did.
Now, when he first stated that, did you believe him?
That he wanted it for legislation. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I saw a huge change in him from that interview to the next time we saw him in person, and I think it had to do with the advocates, the veterans and their families that showed up and showed out on these different meetings, conversations, walking the halls of the Senate and the House, and realizing what effect it had on all of these, groups, and then all the service organizations coming together. I mean, we had over 65 veteran service organizations that can't agree on what color the sky is and what color the grass is half the time, but
Right.
they all came together in solidarity to support the PACT Act, along with, like I said, veteran advocates who walked the halls, and I saw a huge change in him, to where it was, kind of tap dancing to, yeah, we need this, let's get this done, and there's no time to play games because people are sick and dying, and we need to get this passed. So it was a
Yes.
good transformation, real good.
And Kevin knows another issue that I'm very involved with, and that is veteran suicide.
Yep. Yep.
My brother Dennis, on one cold, windy, snowy Christmas Eve, decided he's had enough, and along with 21 other veterans that night or that day, decided they were done. And one of the things that Secretary McDonough heard right away from us all was that they needed to change the Veterans Crisis Line phone number to make it more veteran friendly. And they did that pretty quickly. It didn't take them about a month after we kind of mentioned that to them, that number changed. So it's no longer the 1-800 number, folks. It is now dial 988 and then press 1.
Yep.
They even changed when you call in the VA to make a doctor's appointment, and they bring up the Veterans Crisis Line saying, hey, if you feel like you're going to harm yourself or others, please hang up and dial 1-800. They took that off of there. It is now, if you are a veteran that feels like you're going to hurt yourself or someone else, press number so whatever now, and we will connect you to the crisis line immediately.
Yep.
It's so like it is making it easier.
Better. Yeah, it's gotten better. I mean, we've heard veteran stories. I've called the crisis line, and just to call that 1-800 number and then press 1 and then be put on hold or something like that. It's
right.
It's just there's no reason for it, and we've heard veterans are like, I don't get connected right away. I'm put on hold. I'm listening to elevator music while this is going on. I mean, it's crazy. And this 988 has streamlined that process and made that process a whole lot better. And like anything else, all it can do is go up. It can get better.
Yes. They even hired more operators.
Yes. Yep.
So if you are placed on hold now, that means there's other brothers and sisters out there hurting just like you are.
Yep.
So they're trying their best. But yeah, this makes it so much easier. And changing that message on when you call in the VA to make an appointment.
And if you can't reach somebody there, please call your network of supporters.
Yes.
Please call your brothers and sisters or your family members or something like that, and tell them that you're struggling. And I would rather sit there and listen to an hour and a half venting session than I would attend anybody's funeral, because nobody was there for them. So, reach out to your support system. If you don't have a support system, set one up. We want this thing to end. We want this thing to, one is bad enough in our eyes, not much less 22 or 30 or whatever the number is these days. It's a really unfortunate, and we just want to make sure that you are not alone in this fight. I mean, we've heard in our advocacy efforts, and Tim can tell you this too, that our advocacy efforts, you just change the face of the person, and you're listening to the same story of somebody battling their issues and their illnesses and going through the processes and everything like that. It's so many eerie, similar stories that it's just change out the face, and it's the same person just in a different situation. So we're all there. We all understand. We're really hoping that that's why we push for this PACT Act, that once this became presumptive, that we're really hoping that the suicide rate among veterans decreases significantly for being heard, just for being heard and acknowledged. That's what we're hoping for. Tim, what do you want to say about that?
Oh, well, the thing that I'm really want to stress is one thing you said: call your network. If you don't have a network, create one. Be it your neighbor, be it your brother, be it a veteran that lives down the street. Even if you're not a member of the VFW, your local VFW post, chances are that VFW post has a bar that's open all day long. Now I know the post that I belong to doesn't have a bar, so we only meet once a month. And call them. Somebody will be there that'll talk to you and help you out. If not, call the Veterans Commission or the Veterans Aid Office or whatever for your state. There'll be somebody there that'll listen. If they don't, then they shouldn't have that job. Yeah. But yeah, you got to create a network for yourself. If you suffer hard from PTSD and some other mental issues, you have to create a network.
Yeah, call the vet center. Call the vet center. Call the hospital. You know, I would take it as far as if you see somebody with a hat like mine right here in the grocery store, pull them off to the side and say, "Hey, brother or sister, I'm struggling. I need somebody to talk to. Will you please listen?" And I guarantee
you they're going to listen.
Yeah, I guarantee they're going to listen. They're going to take a minute and they're going to be like, "What's going on? How can I help you?" Or let me get you somewhere where you can get some help, or whatever the case may be. Because I'm telling you, when veterans are in need, other veterans stand up and get shit done. That's what we do.
Yep.
That's what we do. So
we're in this together.
We are.
So if another veteran refuses to talk to you, then I hope that veteran looks himself in the mirror and say, "What the hell did I just do? That's my brother or my sister. I should have been there for them. They had my 6. I should have theirs." Now, to bring that a little bit further is when I do roundtables that are sponsored by Senator Sherrod Brown here in Ohio, and we've been talking about the PACT Act, and he invites colleges and the local VSO'S to it, and then I or other members of Burn Pits 360 speak about the PACT Act, and we all talk about the PACT Act. But he also invites the local police departments, the sheriff, the town police departments, and everything. And the reason he's doing this is to let them know, to get the information to them that, hey, if that veteran is having a flashback or is having a mental breakdown, now's the time for compassion. Not the time to pull out the guns and the handcuffs. Now's the time to talk to that individual. Because that veteran, if they see that gun's going to freak them out even more. They see the handcuffs going to freak them out even more. So it's time to talk. It's time to cool down, no matter how long it takes. Call in somebody, a social worker, whatever, into the situation to help you talk with that veteran. Instead of rushing them and arresting them right away. Talk them down first. That's what Senator Sherrod Brown is trying to get to the local police departments with the PACT Act as well. That it's a lot of the toxic wounds are also affecting us mentally, even though we don't know it, but it's affecting us mentally too. And I know you might know some other veterans, Kevin, that are suffering from mental issues due to their toxic injuries as well.
Yeah, it's you know, and that goes back to that whole thing about even if they're going to hear similar stories. You know, if a veteran feels like they want to share and open up some issues that they've had in the past, dealing with law enforcement or dealing with their issues, that they were glad they were at home versus at the grocery store because it would have been a bad situation or what have you. linking the police departments, the first responders together with a lot of these veterans who have deployed and gone overseas and are having um, trauma issues associated with their deployments, or being in a large crowded area like a grocery store because they don't have a choice. They got to go get groceries or whatever, and they're having a situation that happens, or if they're somewhere else, that they understand. Now, I'm not saying doing something illegal is okay. I'm just saying that they understand the situation a little better, and they're able to help out that situation and use some deductive reasoning, versus pulling out a taser or pulling out something else that could, de-escalate a situation a little bit better. But it's also got to be on the veteran to cool off a little bit and try to understand the circumstances. But it plays into one hand, one hand washes the other. And the similarities and the understanding is a huge factor for our first responders and also the veterans community to reach out to each other and understand what's going on with them, and how to help the situation a little bit further.
And like with me the other day, the other night actually, it was Diwali, national celebration of Diwali, Indian holiday, and our next door neighbor, well, actually the neighbor that lives behind us, set off a bunch of fireworks to celebrate his holiday. And within 30 seconds, we must have had about 3 or 4 neighbors calling and coming over to making sure I was okay. Now, that's what I talk about a network.
Yeah.
They know my situation somewhat. They don't know everything, but they know fireworks can set me off, and they were right there. It didn't matter what they were doing. They dropped what they were doing. Nobody asked them to come over and check, but I was very thankful they did. So was my wife.
Right.
So was my son. My son was like, "Yeah, this is cool. People actually care about my dad."
Well, no, that's a great thing, and
So yeah,
that's the same thing that happened to me. Something similar happened to me yesterday. After the press conference we went to in Flint, we drove down to Holly, which is a national cemetery, veteran cemetery, and they were having a funeral, and we were there visiting the son of Nathan Denrider, who passed away from toxic exposure here in Michigan, and his mom and his dad and I went to visit the cemetery. It's not visiting him. We know that he was with us, but it wasn't visiting him necessarily. And that's my view on the cemetery. But, and then all of a sudden they were doing the 21 gun salute because they were having a funeral. And I'm looking around, and the first thing they asked me was, "Are you okay?" Because it just, you don't expect, I mean, of course you're at a national cemetery, so you would probably understand that you would have that happening if a funeral was going on. But, we're off in the distance on the other side. Next thing you know, we're hearing the 21 gun salute go off, and it was like, whoa, there it is. So yeah, so it's just understanding your surroundings. I remember coming back from deployment, and a car backfired, and I landed myself in a ditch, and I was stood back up and brushing off the grass, and people are looking at me like I was foreign, or from another domain or something like that.
Yeah.
I was just jumping in the grass because that's what we're used to doing, is getting down and seeking some kind of cover or shelter or something. And I got down on the ground, and I'm like, all right, I'm okay. Nothing to see here. Good. I'm good to go. So, but yeah, I mean, those little things, we get it. We understand. We live it, so we're there for you. We understand it. And, reach out to your network, as they might not be able to understand, but maybe they might be able to talk you down and cool you off a little bit, so you can get back to some kind of familiarity that you got going on.
See, that's one of the points too that I mentioned when we're talking with the police departments at these round tables, is don't just talk to the veteran either. Talk to the neighbors, talk to the family members.
Yeah.
They know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
They can help you de-escalate the situation.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to my neighbors when I'm out mowing the grass and stuff like that, or they'll see you if they're out passing by or taking my grandson for a walk or whatever. And the next thing you know, you strike up a conversation, and then they look at you and something's not going right. And they're like, something's going on. That's not normal. That's not what we normally see. And they can give you a better assessment of what's going on before you before you just roll up guns blazing and tackling people and doing all that stuff. So yeah, so it's a balancing act. It really is, especially being in law enforcement when I was in the military, and then also having to respond to that kind of stuff. It's an 8-second decision can change somebody's life in an instant.
Yes,
and
that's right.
and that's the problem, is that we have 8 seconds or less to determine a situation where a jury of our peers has 8 hours or more to deliberate. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6, but you got to be able to make it home, and you got to be able to help the people as much as possible, because protect and serve, that's what it means.
Now, I put the email address on the bottom again. So if there's somebody out there who wants to have an episode dedicated to a fallen hero, send me the fallen hero's information and a picture, and we will dedicate a future episode to them. And we're gonna do those dedications from here on out. I think it's important. I think it's important.
For sure.
The reason I want to dedicate these episodes is because one of the things we did advocating was remember those fallen heroes. We did it for them as well. Help their families as much as possible, everything. Which brings me to another thing here. Let me bring this up. And then bring up his information. Sergeant Wetnall. Remember him from last episode. He is extremely sick. He has stage 4 cancer and is fighting like you wouldn't believe. His family, somebody set up a GoFund account for him and his family. And I'm trying to bring that information up now here for you all. It's let me see. It is called the Help Matt's Toughest Fight. Let me put that on a script below here.
There you go. Well, while we're waiting for that, if any of our viewers know an organization that they want to get the word out about, or about the organizations, feel free to email us at thegolfwaradvocate@yahoo.com and tell us about the organization and what they're doing for the veterans. And we'd love to reach out with them. Please give us contact information, and we'd love to have them on the show. I mean, every Wednesday we're doing this. We'd love to have people come on the show talking about their organization and what they're doing for the veteran community, whether it be in California, New York, Florida, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, wherever, nationwide. If they're helping out veterans across the nation or worldwide, we'd love to hear about them. We'd love to get them on the show and promote their organizations to help veterans. And that's what we're doing for this. So we're hoping that the content that we've given so far has been helpful to veterans, between Project Sanctuary and Oscar Mike and Off Grid and all those other agencies that we brought on, the veteran service organizations that we brought on to get the word out to veterans. We are not specifically tied to each state. We try to give as much information out there because it's all about the veterans community.
That's right.
The PACT Act was not just one state over another. It was nationwide and worldwide. So we're looking for organizations to come on and share their stories and tell us about their organizations to help our vets. Did you find it, Tim?
Yeah, yeah, it's scrolling underneath. It's called "Help Matt's Toughest Fight."
Oh,
That's the
there it is.
name of the
Okay, yep,
GoFund.
there it is. Yep, great. It's awesome.
Yes, yes,
Wonderful.
and I'm hoping to be able to get down to their area of the state and meet his family and him here soon. With my schedule, it's going to be kind of rough with the speaking engagements and doctor's appointments. You know how many of those I got a week.
Right,
God.
right.
But yeah, we want to build this veterans community to depend on each other, to help each other, look out after each other. And that's one of the reasons why we do the shows, get information out to you so we can do that. Like Kevin said, we want to hear from different nonprofits. We don't need to hear from, like we would like that. Well, we had one representative from the VFW. Then we also had IAVA on.
No.
But there's other organizations out there,
Yeah, we'd love to
smaller
hear
ones
from
that
the Warriors and everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
We want to hear from them all. We want to bring them all on. We want to get the information out to you.
Yep.
Our brothers and sisters. And if you have any recommendations for it, future episodes, such as other issues other than nonprofits, or that any issue that you think that is a huge effect on veterans and their families, email us, let us know, and we will do an episode about that issue. Hopefully, I sent an email out to the VA. Hopefully, we can get the secretary himself on. But if not, there's a program that I'm involved with at the VA called Move. It's to help lose weight. As people can see on TV, I'm kind of fat. It's due to all the steroids they had me on for like 5 years. So I got pretty fat. So now I'm trying to lose all that weight. So that's what that program is designed to do, is help you lose weight, help you think a little bit differently when you eat and everything. So I'm going to hopefully get a representative from the VA to come on to talk about that program, because I think it's huge. There's a lot of us who can't do the physical activity anymore due to lung disease like we tend to put some weight on, and that doesn't help our situation out at all. So this program is designed to help keep the weight off. If not help lose it, but help keep it off, so you don't gain any more, at least. So Kevin.
Yes.
I understand that up there in Michigan, you had some very good relationships with congressmen and senators up in your state, and you pretty much got them all to vote for the PACT Act.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say that I'm very proud of the state of Michigan. We were the highest percentage when the PACT Act initially went through the House. We had the highest percentage of over 78% of our congressional delegates sign on to the PACT Act. So bipartisanship was huge. Not only did we do that, but we also put billboards up in the state to support the PACT Act. So we were the only state that did that. That went not only nationwide, but that went worldwide with the response that got for the PACT Act. It wasn't because of Michigan looking better than anybody else. It was just the fact that we were able to do it, and the onus on this was to get more attention to the PACT Act versus just the state, but it kind of went hand in hand. And then the second round of the PACT Act, unfortunately, I was hoping for 100% support, but unfortunately, we missed it by two congressional delegates that didn't sign on to it, unfortunately. But the point is that it passed. We are supporting this. We're so happy that it did. Everybody put in a lot of hard work, not only in Michigan and some of these nonprofits that we used downriver for veterans helped me. We went door to door with a grassroots effort, and we took those signed copies of support to the senators' offices here in Michigan and the Detroit area. and we dropped them off in their respective buildings and with their staff, and garnered a lot of attention as well. But that's what, one person can't do it by themselves, but one person can start. It's kind of like the ripple effect when you throw a rock into a pond and all those ripples come out. Next thing you know, you got this person and this person with you, and you build that network and you build solidarity, and the next thing you know, we're going to the White House signing a bill.
Yes.
And that's the biggest achievement for this, is that it's now law, and millions of veterans, and I just won't say 3.5 because we're talking
No,
about
it's
Gulf
more than
War.
that.
It's
Yeah.
more than that. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's more than that.
millions of veterans are going to, and their families are
Yes.
going to benefit from this legislation, and being ignored, being told to get a straw, suck it up, rub some dirt on it, it's all in your head. Those days are over. Those days are over, and that's, I think, the biggest win for that is now veterans that should have been heard and should have been taken into consideration previously are going
Decades
to be
ago.
heard.
Yes.
Decades ago, yes, are going to be heard and are going to be taken into consideration, and their voices and their opinions and their thoughts do matter. And now we're putting some onus on the government to make sure, and the federal agencies to make sure that they're heard and they're taken care of, and their families. I mean, I mentioned Nathan Denbrider. His widow took 2.5 years to get her survivor's benefits. That's absurd.
Yeah,
that's absurd. There's no reason for that. We got to take care of these veterans. The family serves too. The family serves. Well, we got to make sure that he's got small children, and the family serves as well. And that's hopefully we've remedied all those wrongs with the passing of the PACT Act. Hopefully we have.
Right. And I don't want to hear the excuse from any veteran anymore that I'm not sick yet about signing up on the burn pit registry.
No, it took me 11 years to get my diagnosis after I initially peeling back the onion now and realizing that when I thought I was sick, when they just told me I had exercise-induced asthma, it took over 11 years to finally get my diagnosis of constrictive bronchiolitis.
Yep. Took me even longer, man.
Yeah, it took you even longer. So the average window is 10 to 15 years after you're exposed. Some people get it really quick, and other people it takes about 10 to 15 years. So if you're not sick now, that's great. I'm happy for you. I hope you never get sick. But sign up, cover yourself. If you do get sick, that's not the time to sign up, because you're dealing with all those illnesses. You're not wanting to battle with getting kicked off the internet and signing up for this and asking these questions. Sign up for it, get it done, be resilient. And if you do get sick, God willing you don't, but if you do get sick, then you have an outlet. You're done with the registry, sign up for your benefits, file claims, and get the benefits and compensation that you deserve and you're entitled to. That's all you got to do. Sounds simple, but there's a lot of steps in between there.
That's right.
Especially those that have been denied over and over and over again. Hopefully they come back and circle the wagon and say, nope, not anymore. This ain't going to happen.
And I'm also hearing stories from the older veterans that recently signed up on the burn pit registry, not knowing they were sick, not having symptoms yet, went to the burn pit registry physical, and they got the x-rays, the CAT scans, the blood work and everything. Said, oh, hey, this is what you have.
Yep. Pre-screening is huge.
Yes.
Blood tests, colonoscopies, EDGs, scopes, MRIs, pre-screening those things. Because if you can catch something early, by God, you're ahead of the game.
Yes.
Yep. And you can extend your life, and you can extend your quality of life. And that's the biggest thing. And what you leave behind, your legacy, they don't want you to go nowhere. They want you to stay as long as you possibly can. So get those pre-screenings, get those blood panels. 2 of the veterans in Michigan alone that passed away, if they would have had early screenings for blood exam or blood test, they would have caught it.
Wesley Black.
Unfortunately, they didn't. So,
Mm-mm-mm. Wesley.
yep, Wesley Black too. Same thing.
I was supposed to meet him.
Yep,
And unfortunately, his colon cancer got him before I could meet him.
yep,
And that's one of the things why we are also advocating for the Barbosa Act.
yep.
Is a bill designed to give mandatory colonoscopies and colon screenings to veterans returning from Afghanistan, Iraq, and well, the Gulf War. We're already past. Most of us are probably past 45 years of age, so we're past that waiting period to get your first colonoscopy. But
Or anything in the future,
yeah,
that might come along. God
the
willing that nothing happens in the future, but if anything does, who's to say
mhm,
that your exposure to whatever agents or whatever in the future? I mean, I hope we've learned something here, but
mhm.
who
Well,
knows? So,
the thing is if the individual is still on active duty,
mm-hmm.
they cannot get a colonoscopy until they reach the age of 45. No, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's what the Barbosa Act is mainly for,
Right.
is active duty. When they return from Afghanistan or Iraq, well, Afghanistan's pretty much over with now, but when they come back from Iraq, there's a period in which they are that the branch of service is required to give them a colonoscopy, no questions asked. Because they're finding that colon cancer is the number one raising. It's rapidly growing in the veteran community from us who were deployed.
I think
And
they dropped the age down, didn't they, to 40 years old now? I think the people in their 40s now instead of 50s are
it's 45.
it's
It's
45. Okay.
45. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And that's if you're on active duty.
Right. Right.
Now, if you are separated now and you're in the VA system, the VA, if they think it's warranted, will do a colonoscopy no matter what your age is.
Mm-hmm.
I had my first colonoscopy when I was 30.
Wow. Wow. And of course, you've got OIF and OEF coordinators and
Yep.
social workers there in the
Mhm.
VA that you can reach out to if you have further questions. Veteran service officers have a lot of information about what they've been hearing from other vets and from the VA because they put out a lot of information, or contact your VA and find out what you're eligible for and what kind of screenings you can get done, because early prevention saves lives.
Yes, it does. It sure does. If I had early screening, I probably wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in now. So, um, but another bill that we're advocating for is called the Major Richard Starr Act.
Yes.
This is very huge to a lot of veterans, especially those who are retired, or in my case, whose contract was bought out during the Clinton administration right after Desert Storm. I was given a lump sum payment when I got out because they basically bought my contract out and say, hey, if you get out now, we'll give you this big, huge lump of money. I said, oh man, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I had to pay every single penny of that back before I can get my compensation from the VA. If you are retired and you're obviously receiving your retirement pay, when you go to the VA and you claim a service-connected illness or injury, they deduct that compensation out of your retirement pay. I think that's bullshit. I do not believe that is called double dipping like they say it is.
Mm-hmm.
You earned that retirement. You also earned that compensation. You went to war for this country. It's time they cough up everything that they owe you.
And if you don't know who Major Richard Starr is, he is a Army major who passed away at 51 years old from illnesses associated with toxic exposure. So this is even bigger in our hearts because it pales in the comparison with the toxic exposure issue, and then you've got the combined receipt issue. I was fortunate to meet Major Richard Starr's widow. And let me tell you, when you put a face to a bill, or a person to a bill, or a family member to a bill, I mean, that was like that was like better than any sports team winning any kind of national title or anything like that. It was like any celebrity I would have met right there. She trumped them all, just because of the fact that the importance of it and how it'll help over 50,000 veterans who are in this situation right now. There's over 319 co-sponsors in the House. There's over 66 co-sponsors in the Senate. So we just need to urge our legislators to put this on the floor before January.
Yes.
And get a vote on it. So
call your senators, call your congressmen. Matter of fact, the ones that really need the calls are Pelosi and Schumer.
Yep, because they have the
call,
power to
call their DC offices. Leave a message if you have to. This bill needs to get passed before they break.
They 290 House representatives. If you have 290 or more, they can call it a special session where they can put it on the floor.
Yep.
And we have over 313 or 19 that have signed up. So, and in the Senate, it avoids a filibuster of 60 or more, and there's over 66. So this bill, all it needs is just a final push to get to the floor. So please contact your delegates and have them submit a delegation letter for your state to Congresswoman Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, or the Senate Majority Leader and Senator Schumer, and let's get this done. And let's help some more veterans out.
This needs every single veteran calling, just like on the PACT Act. We need everybody's help on this bill, because I guarantee you there's somebody out there who's retired who knows they're sick but is afraid to file that claim because they know they're going to take money out of their retirement.
Yeah. Concurrent receipt is what it's called.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but it has the support. It
baffles
me. It baffles me. It does.
Yeah. It's thought we had the momentum going when the PACT Act passed, that all veterans bills were going to be put on the floor quickly, but I don't know why this one isn't. Now, from what I understand, Major Starr's widow doesn't talk about her husband much. She talks about how this is going to help. Like, what'd you say? 50,000 veterans
over
at least?
50,000, yeah.
Yes. Yep. She talks about how this is going to help all the other veterans.
Yep.
Not what it could have done for her husband, but what it's going to do for the future.
Yeah.
And if that isn't powerful to get you motivated to make these phone calls, I don't know what else is.
Yep.
She's doing this for you.
Yep.
Not just her husband. She's doing this for you.
Yeah.
And so that means call your congressman, call your senators. Everybody has one congressman. Everybody has two senators. Call all three. Call Schumer, call Pelosi. So that's 5 phone calls we're asking you to do. That's all. That's it. 5 phone calls. Call your congressman, call both your senators, call Schumer, call Pelosi. It shouldn't matter to you if you're Republican or Democrat or an independent. This is red, white, and blue.
Yep.
This is a national issue.
Let's get it done.
Get it done. Gotta call them.
Done. Let's get it done. Well, Tim, I appreciate you.
Yep.
And
I appreciate you too, brother.
Here. And I'm sorry that we were able to get Dr. Hendricks on board today with a technical issue.
Yeah, we'll get that figured out. And
we'll get that figured out, and we'll bring her on another episode. But thank you for all listening. If you have ideas, please reach out to the Gulf War Advocate at yahoo.com for ideas of nonprofits, organizations, good people doing good things for veterans in the communities, and let us know about them. We'd love to have them on the show. Next week, we have Robert Beckman and Eric Codella from treatnow.org. So if you want to look them up prior to the show, be more than helpful to understand what they do, the advocacy that they do for hyperbaric oxygen treatment, reducing the suicide epidemic for veterans, and a whole kinds of other things. And we look forward to that show next week, and we look forward to seeing you again. Same time, same channel, same day. And Tim, I appreciate you and everything that you do. And
one last statement before we end this here. If you are a Gulf War veteran and you believe you were exposed to sarin gas, We need your stories because we're advocating for you too. There's more benefits that you have earned due to that, and we can't help you unless you help us. We need your stories. I've been talking with congressmen and senators on this issue. I have a lot of support, but they want stories. They need stories. They need to hear from you. So if you were exposed to sarin gas or believe you were exposed to sarin gas, we need your story. Also, if you received, I've heard of several veterans that received letters from the DOD stating that you were exposed to sarin gas. If the DOD told you were exposed, come talk to us. Let's get your story out there so we can get you the benefits that you earned. All right, Kevin. Hey, I love you, brother.
Love you too, man. We'll take.
We turned something that could have been bad into good. Now I hope a lot of veterans listen to us, and we'll be getting some messages here soon. Don't forget. Let me bring this back up. Let's help out this brother here. Let's help out Matt Wetnall and his family. Matt's fighting cancer. His family needs our help. Let's show him what the veteran community is made of. Let's go to his GoFundMe. Help Matt's toughest fight. Donate, even if it's just $1 or $2. Let's help this family out. They need it.
Yeah.
And also want to thank Kim and Gina for sending in the pictures of their husbands. I know you were proud of them. I know you're still proud of them. I know we are.
Sure.
All right, America. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next week, Wednesday. And all right, veterans, take care of each other, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.